Desolation of Mankind, Section 11, Revenge of the Creator. I am God. He who fails to find me destroys himself, and all who hate me love death. Proverbs 8:36. In the book of Daniel in the Bible, it speaks of Nebuchadnezzar's dream of a statue made of different kinds of metals, each representing the kingdoms that would rule the world. The last of these, the feet of iron with toes of iron mixed with clay. It represents the last kingdom that would rule the world, which will be the one world order under the Antichrist. When I think of the Bible's emphasis on the iron mixed with clay and how it will be part of a future world kingdom, I think of the transhumanists and the technologies associated with the Singularity, though I definitely think the passage is referring to the fact that the kingdom will be partly strong and partly weak, as iron is strong and clay is weak, which is the common understanding. But as it often is with the Bible, this statement is talking about several aspects of the last kingdom, some of which I believe could only have been fulfilled at a certain time in history, a time closer to when the prophecy would actually be fulfilled. I believe that that time is the very near future for us. For example, another aspect of the iron and clay feet refers to the kingdom of Rome, a revised version of Rome. The legs of iron in the statue do represent the kingdom of Rome. It was the last kingdom to rule the world. And the fact that there were two legs was significant too, as Rome was divided into East and West kingdoms. And the feet, then, are like a revised Roman Empire, iron of Rome mixed with the clay, representing a weaker aspect to this new Rome. And the fact that there are 2 feet again is significant. There are a few modern reflections of Rome. America is one. Nearly everything from the government on down to the national pastime, being stadium sports, in America is so very like Rome. If someone from the Bible days saw into the future, seeing America, they might say it's just like Rome. Different, yes, but very much the same too. And there is also Europe, which actually has Rome in it, and the Roman Catholic Church still exists, just as it was. I believe one modern reflection of Rome is also the Nazis, because the Nazis drew nearly all of their imagery and many other things from Rome. And of course, the entire driving force of the Nazis, and for Hitler, and all that they believed and everything they did was evolution. But I think that the iron mixed with clay is also describing the nature of the people of the last kingdom, which means it could be referring to what I have been talking about in this chapter: cybernetics, genetic manipulation, etc. The kingdom will be made up of people that are quite literally iron mixed with clay, the clay representing the flesh and the iron representing metal and machine parts, and or some of the people of that kingdom will be hybrids, which could be the genetic side of the Singularity tech, or they might be hybrids made by earthly genetic science, like hybrids or animals, or hybrids made by the spirit world, as in the days of old, half demon, half alien, or half angel, like the Nephilim were. I think that the next verse reinforces this, especially the genetic manipulation side of it, because it says in Daniel 2:42 through 43, "And they will mix themselves in the seed of man, but they won't cling to each other as iron doesn't mix with clay." So, in short, the last kingdom will be like Rome, possibly having aspects of Nazism in it, definitely anti-Semitic, and driven by evolution. And it will probably have something to do with cybernetics, as well as genetic hybrids, possibly the Nephilim type, the animal or human. It will be a kingdom that is on one side human, but on the other side demonic. I see the technology and the events of today are leading up to this final kingdom, iron and clay. And one world order, like at the time of Babel, under one leader, a new Nimrod. And this new Tower of Babel that they are building is the Tower of Technology. I believe the name for it in our time, for this coming world power, is the New World Order. Section 11, Revenge of the Creator, Part 2. There was also another part of Nebuchadnezzar's dream. A stone was cut without human hands, and it was hurled at the statue, striking it on its feet, obliterating the entire statue. And then the stone grew and filled the whole earth. The stone represents Jesus and his kingdom. Notice, it is the last kingdom, the feet of iron and clay, that the stone, Jesus, strikes, and he destroys all the kingdoms of men. This is a clear sign that it will be during the days of this last kingdom, the one world order, that Christ will return. In history's final chapter, the final kingdom of earth, the one world order, and all its evil will fall to the vengeance of the Creator. And God will establish his kingdom on earth. Jesus, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, will reign forever. It's important to know how it ends, because though today people are able to live oblivious to these things, it will not always be so. Most people, even good people, have the attitude that if it isn't affecting them now, it's not important. In the time of Hitler and the Nazis, most people did not understand what was going on. Many didn't want to, even when the jackbooted monsters were marching down their streets. They ignored it until it was too late. And most people who should know better are doing the same today. We live in a time when people believe that there is no absolute truth. In a time when most people reject the idea of God, hate him, or follow some other god or cult. Of the people who do believe there is a God, they generally think of him as a kindly old uncle. He's nice and friendly and would never dream of judging anybody. Even many of those who claim to be Christian view God like this. People don't want to deal with the judgment of God or his vengeance on the wicked. And it does a disservice to the real love of God. But God is a great king. He is terrible and mighty beyond imagining. He is dangerous. There is no one and nothing more dangerous. There is nothing more fearsome. So in our day, it is rare and vitally important to understand how beautiful and terrible the Lord is. It calls to mind one passage in the Bible where God is speaking, and he says, "Consider this, you who forget God, or I will tear you in pieces, and there will be none to deliver you from me." Such a statement is leagues away from the way that the modern world sees God. He is not a God to be trifled with, nor to be taken lightly. And it is all the more sobering when we realize that in this passage, God is speaking to anyone who dares to forget him. That means you or me, the guy at Starbucks selling coffee, everyone. Furthermore, it is no idle threat but a promise. Not only does God have the power to do it, he also has the right to do it, because each and every one of us was created by him. Or think of it this way. If you pulled the pin on a hand grenade and just held it in your hand, you're going to be in serious trouble in a very short time. Now, you might not like it, you might not believe it, You may choose just to ignore it, but it doesn't really matter what you think. The grenade is going to go off, and when it does, you're going to be leaving in sandwich bags. It's the same with God. Yet at the same time, for those who take Him seriously, God is love. Section 11, Revenge of the Creator, Part 3. In my own personal story, I have witnessed God's love firsthand, His mercy and kindness. In fact, the only reason I'm even writing these words now is because of the passionate love of Jesus Christ when I deserved nothing but death. So I'm not some religious, judgmental person who knows nothing about this. God is love, real love, jealous love, passionate love. Long ago, when God destroyed the earth in the flood, it grieved God's heart that He even made man because of the wickedness on the earth in those days. Yet He still saved Noah to restart the human race, and He placed a rainbow in the sky as a promise between Him and us that He would never destroy this world with a flood again. The very rainbow that we see today whenever it rains, that's love. Still today, He is calling all mankind, "Come unto me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest." This is the beautiful heart of our Creator, who cried out, "Father, forgive them, because they know not what they do," even as they crucified Him. Nevertheless, the whole world will go after a false king, who will promise peace and safety and a better world, a united world, really no different than any other dictator in the past has said. Yet people will still follow him because they fall for it every time. And it always has horrifying results. Just about everything in our modern society is all leading back to the same dictatorship that existed in the time of the Tower of Babel. You may remember the movie The Lion King. In it, young Simba was the son of the true, mighty, and righteous king of the lands of light. But a usurper came and usurped the throne for himself. His promises were for a better world, a world of plenty and of unity. The rightful heir was banished from his home, and Scar took the throne. The first thing that the usurper king did actually was to call for unity. Unity with the evil hyenas. They were the ones who helped Scar the usurper kill the true king and take the throne. Yet no one knew that. They only know how Scar preached tolerance and unity as he brought the enemy into the fold. But I want to draw your attention to what happened to the lands that were once so beautiful. It's a sobering vision as you see the destroyed wasteland that used to be the lands of light. And it is a version of the future of our world under the usurper king. All the promises of peace and of a better world, whether it is through cybernetics, robotics, or any other of these things that the world is doing right now, will actually be its destruction. As they also preach unity and tolerance, bringing the enemy into our fold. Ironically, the very people who helped it come about will be the very ones who are horrified at the outcome one day. Because people don't understand, as the people in the Lion King kingdom did not understand, that the usurper is only out to steal, kill, and destroy, nothing else. But the true king will return and take back his kingdom, and today you can be part of that kingdom. Though it is invisible now, it's more real than anything that we see presently. Perhaps like Simba, you will see the true king in a vision, the great lion saying, "My son, my daughter, why have you forgotten me?" And perhaps like Simba, you too will remember who the true king is and who you are, and you will take a stand fighting the usurper until the true king returns. Then you will know that that is what God wants, for He alone is the true king, and if you belong to Him, you are